with the Minnesota DNR and the MDCA. With Minnesota DNR, we have a couple different things going on. Chairman Fairbanks was able to reiterate our request to the DNR about wanting the wider state forest and those lands back to the tribe. We're hoping to get more involved in that. What they do with their land is they do a strategic management plan. Executive Director Lori York suggested that the tribes be allowed in that. So we're hoping with their leadership and our leadership that we can be more involved in taking care of the wider state forest at this time and hopefully get that land back soon. 1855, just a quick update on that. Our next meeting is on March 23rd. What they're hoping to do is a spring steering season. They have a planned event location, and they're hoping to have some of our staff be there to assist. It wouldn't be in an official capacity like conservation officers, but it'd just be there as a presence.
Okay. I'll have to keep you on the phone.
Our egg program, Food Sovereignty is meeting with the college, and they're working on seeds with the Science Museum of Minnesota. And they're requesting that seeds be a part of the project to aim to bring back native seeds from the Science Museum to here to grow. They're also working with the Waban Elementary on a pollinator identification day, and they're going to put up a high tunnel to grow tomatoes. So it's a kind of a neat program they're doing with the community. Conservation, we've hired 2 new officers, Brandon Goodwin and Cole Thompson, and so we're excited to have them get going with us. Our emergency management crew are still busy. You know, even though our COVID numbers are dropping, they're still busy with the final reports and getting all that information, and I don't see that slowing down for them anytime soon. Our environmental program, I'll leave it up for Bernie to visit about this, but we're hoping to start a recycling program. We'll be meeting next week on this, and watch for news on that. Our pesticides, if you looked in the Anishinaabe today, Renee had an article in there. I thought it was really informative on, you know, what pesticides are more than just what you see spraying in the fields. It's things that we use in our homes. Forestry, very busy. They've always been busy. The big thing with them is they help out with the spirit fires, and they've been averaging 1 to 2 fires per week. We did have a request from the Nawash Community Council for funds to help purchase firewood, and so that was something that, you know, for the council to consider, help to fund that. Let's see, our wildlife program, their CWD project is wrapping up. The results were very good. There were no positives. The drawing is sometime this week. They had 175 heads come in, and of those, 124 were tribal members. Land office, there'll be a number of packets with the Feed of Trust program going through. Shanda Eagle's been awesome helping get those together, and she's really moving that stuff forward. I think Tracy talked a lot about the projects that are going on, and I don't think people realize the land office, how involved they are with all of those projects. They have to work on right-of-ways, they work on so many things with that, with the federal lands. And so I think our land office deserves a lot of credit in, you know, how they're helping these projects move forward. Our water resources, they were coordinating with the Leech Lake Division of Resource Management, and they started a small-scale pilot project. What they've been doing is some whitefish rearing. They're really excited about that, and they're hoping that to take off more, you know, within our, just us here. And wild rice. Dustin's been participating on a big project. They're going to be doing some satellite and drone imagery, but what they want to do is, it's wild rice monitoring is what it is. And so that'll be good to get some baseline information on. Right now, you know, we're planning, we're busy. A lot of it's going to be following up on projects that were started last summer, things that haven't been finished. You know, one of them was the youth hunt. That's something that was brought up, and how we can move that forward and help out the elders on getting those deer tags filled. So I look forward to meeting with you guys on those projects and how we can move forward.
If I could, I think I can get by without that, but go ahead. I've had people come up to me and they're talking about getting the refuge back. Tamrac, North Half, isn't Tamrac Refuge back? I've got a paper someplace in my files that your predecessor and Irma Visner was offered to have that given back to us, and they said it was too much to handle. One road to take care of it, I can't understand how that would be too much to handle, but do you have a copy in your files of natural resources that ice cracking?
Share it with me and I will do it.
I'd like to, I know a lot of people have been asking about it, and I told them we had a chance at it once, and if we could talk to Tamrac and have them get that back to us.
Yep, I think that's a definite goal of the RBC right now is to work on that, and any documents you have would be good.
Yeah, and I know, Sam, working with the state of Minnesota, we're taking kind of like baby steps, with the state and also with the feds. And I know one of the things that we talked about in our meetings is we talk about co-management, because one of the things that we're always left out of when they take the trees and replanting or any type of our medicines and whatnot, that we can, how we have a say what they put back in the ground. And these are just the first phases that we'd like to see. That the end phases, of course, is to get the lands back in our name again. It's historical lands.
I know I talked with Tamrac right after it happened, and they couldn't understand why we didn't accept their offer to accept it and take it.
Yeah, I know the one part that we were discussing, I think we're planning, is the 638 part of Tamrac.
Yep, the northern part.
Yes, the 638 part of the operations to taking over that, and then eventually get those lands back into Whiter's, back into our land office.
That was a
the
question,
deeds.
that I worked on it a little bit, and I could never understand that part of it, but thank me.
Yeah, we're working on it. That's one thing that we're striving. That's one thing I'm working on personally with land.
Yeah, they got the files, and they were glad.
Yeah.
They wanted to let us take it over and stuff.
And that's consultation with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife and the U.S. Forest, Monica. So we're working on that. Monica's doing a great job, so.
Okay,
good.
Thank you.
All right, well, Miigwech, Monica, go ahead, Tito.
I just wanted to find out if they were gonna have animal clinics in White Earth in some of the areas, because there, a lot of people are asking about animal clinics and getting their animals neutered and spayed.
I believe they had it in
But they filled up just like that. And there's so many people out there that want another clinic so they can, take care of their animals.
I know the CSOs, and I know Mike LaRock. I'm not sure if Eugene, if you're helping out with that, but I think when Mike comes in, we can ask him that question.
Yeah.
Because I think they just had one in Nadawa, shouldn't they?
Yeah, but it filled up way before.
Yes, and we usually have at the White Earth Community Center, we have those too. So, Vern, do you know anything about that coming up?
Yeah, they had a clinic last weekend, but
Do we have anything else planned coming up in the near future?
not that I know right off the top of my head.
I know with planning those, we work with two organizations, that For Love of Dog and then the University of Minnesota. So it's kind of based on their schedule.
And what's the other group that, I think Leech Lake uses a different group
Leech
too?
Lake Legacy?
Yeah, do they have a clinic
What
too?
are we talking about? Dogs? Dogs.
Dog and cat
Clinics, we're talking about clinics.
program, neutering and
The
spaying.
CSOs are coordinating.
No, right now, I think the game wardens were through the University of Minnesota. They have a group up now that's spent the whole week in Nadawash, and then they're spending a whole week in Rice Lake. So,
What
but
about White Earth?
they have, that's a different story. There was some challenges with that. They said that they didn't get the help they needed to have the clinic there, blah, blah, blah. Those are kind of just the challenges that they were coming up with. But now, well, Monica can speak a little bit about it too, but right now, we've hired an animal control officer who's going to be in charge of these clinics. He's going to be in charge of helping with, I think, Mike Johnson, I think, is working with conservation and collaborating with him to get more of these clinics up and running. So also we're with our animal control commission group, we're looking for some funding through the Humane Society to get a voucher system for spade and neuter of animals. It would be like if you came to one of our navigators or you went to the animal control officer and said, I can't afford to have my dog spayed or neutered, and I can't even get him to the vet, we would be able to issue a voucher, and then that navigator would be able to pick up the dog, take the dog, get it spayed and neutered, and bring it back to the house. Those are some of the things that we're looking at doing right now. So once our animal commission meets again, we'll talk a little bit about that and get on board. We also have
Well, hurry up, because the cats.
Mike, I think maybe you need to ask Tito to come to the next meeting, I think so.
to the animal commission meeting. Lori, you can invite her to the animal control commission or whatever. I think I'm done with my update. I'll see you guys later. Is that right in the middle of yours?
Monica's.
So
Monica's,
is that
oh.
animal control officer, is he?
What's his name, Mike?
Working right
It's
now?
it's Clifford Jackson. He's currently working right now.
Mike, do we have a phone number for him?
Because White Earth Village has too many dogs running wild. And there's this one house that's got, I was on the bus and it stopped at this one house and there was no houses around there, just the one house. And there were 6 huge dogs that were part pit bull. They were big, tall dog, big. And the old female that was with those other dogs, looked like she just had pups because, her
Yeah, see,
breasts were hanging down.
right now the animal control officer is he's about 3 weeks in now. I think he's about 2.5 weeks he's been around. What I did is we instructed him to go around to each community and just assess the communities and just kind of look first and then see which houses are, what challenges we have at each house and stuff like that. And then follow up the following week and go make contact with the owners of the house and give them either give them some services on the dogs if they want to surrender them or do something like that. And then we would get to, 3-4 weeks in, we would get to the point where we're going to start issuing citations to people for dogs running at large.
There's a limit to how many dogs you can have in each house, right? Is that 2?
No. I don't even, you'd have to talk to housing about the tribal housing because we've been going round and around about that. When in tribal housing, it was actually, you couldn't have any dogs. The ordinance, or the thing says no dogs, but there's no enforcement mechanism to it. So.
Yeah, there's a house right directly behind the congregate. They've got 5 dogs.
Okay.
They keep one tied up, but the rest are running around and they're all over. And they about knock you down when you get up, taking your trash out to the dumpster.
Yep. And you also got to remember that this animal control officer is only one guy, and we got 5 big communities. So it's not a catch-all. It's not going to get done in a week. It's gonna take time because he'll have to address the challenges in each community. And believe me, a lot of challenges.
But Mike, a handicapped elder, afraid to go out and walk. That's a concern.
That would be one of the challenges we address right away.
All right, I'll give you a name, but I want that guy's name, Clifford Jackson.
Clifford Jackson, C.J. Jackson. I can, let me see, I'll give you his phone number.
Yeah, Mike, do we have?
It's 911 hung.
Come on.
Give Clinton's number over and over.
Clinton left, I'll just keep giving you his number. Hold on here.
Should know that like that.
Well, dispatch should be able to.
Yeah, you could either call dispatch or I'm gonna give you his number here, let me see.
No, I want his number.
You want his personal number?
So we can give that one to the people that are being affected. Have
Okay.
them call.
But you know what, I gotta go through my whole everything here.
Right, that walk around. He's a walker and he walks every day.
Are there any other questions for Monica?
Which Monica?
Yep, Miigwech Monica.
Wait, I'm still waiting for that number.
Yeah, I know. I was just checking before.
I don't forget.
I don't.
I mean, Tito, I'll bring it down to you, okay? Just hold on a second here. I gotta go through my whole list here.
He's turning colors over there.
Yeah.
The pressure.
You got your hat on?
Let's see. All right, Lori or Eugene, do either of you want to go next?
I'll go next.
All right, so we have Eugene Summers here with our Economic Development Department.
Hello, everyone. I got 3 departments here, and I'll start with the wild rice market, and then I'll just piggyback off of natural resources with the wild rice. In the 2021 season, we bought 9,892 pounds of green rice, which finished out to 4,132 pounds of rice. So the rice on hand that we had from the 2020 reserve was 50,000 pounds. So in total, we had 54,132 pounds. Total rice on hand, the latest update was from, let's see, the 28th, and that was 4,121 pounds. And let's see, the total revenue for the wild rice market from October to February was $47,325. We did not fulfill the USDA contract this year, and we implemented a rice limit. It was 10 pounds per tribal member, and there were exceptions for community councils and community events. We're working on implementing a new online checkout method with IT. And then I'll move on to the Gajigan's Art Incubator. So the Gajigan Arts Incubator was awarded 4 grants this year, totaling $175,000. The grantors were the Waters Foundation, the Bush Foundation, the McKnight Foundation, and the First People Fund Foundation. The Gajigan Arts Incubator is planning an Anishinaabe Arts Festival July 22nd to the 23rd, and I believe it's going to be in Bemidji. And then one of the big projects that the Gajigan Arts Incubator did with local artists was collaborating with the Native Roots Trading Post in the Twin Cities. The Gajigan Arts Incubator, they used their grant funding to buy White Earth art, and they supplied all the art for that for that retail space in the Twin Cities. And the amount of art sold in total were 10% of the total sales came from White Earth artists. And we'll move on to economic development. So we did hire on 2 grant writers, Julian Telez and Joe Tanika. They just completed some grant writer training, and then one of them's working closely with the Food Sovereignty Initiative, and then our Human Service Department. We did apply for a Department of Labor grant to implement the Youth Build program. We were not funded for that, but we did update a lot of information. We plan on reapplying next year. And then our other grant writer, he's working with the Education Division on the Living Language grant. Our total grant funding that we applied for was $8,093,286. The amount that we're funded was $4,857,605, and we're still waiting on the award amount pending is $3,435,681. See, our current projects are some projects that we've already done. One of them was the Blandon broadband connectivity program. We were awarded $100,000 to do a project, and that project was supplying our Elders Council with 40 computers. The Council of Elders met with me yesterday, and they asked me to bring the computers to their April 5th meeting. Let's see. There was so the Verizon, there's a Verizon, what do you call them? Verizon satellites on top of the White Earth water tower. we're going to be upgrading that to a 5G, and then there's also some talks about, or
Somebody's cutting us off.
All right.
everyone is
You're done, Eugene. Last 5 minutes.
we're looking at another some more garage hardware in Nadawash on top of that water tower. We're looking to repair and replace the Nadawash wind turbine. And see our NTIA grant that we've been working on. We're currently in we're currently in phase 4 of that project. So we completed an on-site evaluation. So we have a engineering design report, and we're just waiting to see if we're funded for that. And we applied for $29 million worth of funding in that, and that's going to provide a broadband to the entire reservation. It's going to be a combination of satellite and fiber. I know Dana mentioned earlier about a basketball tournament that we're coordinating with, and that's going to be at the Minoan High School, April 23rd through the 24th. That concludes my report. If anyone has any questions.
All right, McGwitch, Eugene. Up next, we'll have Lori Thompson with our Judicial Department.
Thank you. I'm just going to talk a little bit about the 1855 treaty first. Our new court, there were 23 cases that came over from Clearwater, Hubbard, and Itasca with 17 defendants. Of those, 5 of them were White Earth members. A couple of them were White Earth descendants, and the rest were from other tribes. In May, we applied to the National Council of Juvenile Family Court Judges to be a model tribal court for child protection cases. And what this will allow is training and technical assistance tailored to us to help us improve outcomes for dependency cases and for the families and children. With that too, we're looking at creating a parent mentor program, and that is where parents that are newly involved or at risk of getting involved can work with parents who have lived experiences, and so that they could be a mentor for them. We applied for, and Casey Foundation is going to be helping us provide training and technical assistance. So the court is working with White Earth Behavioral Health on the parent mentor program. The court also contracts with 2 tribal members to be guardian ad litems for the court. The court has been working with the state court guardian ad litem program for ongoing training and mentorship. They're also working on getting us access to their online guardian ad litem training courses. I know I've been working with some of the other tribal courts in the state of Minnesota, and they are also interested in it as well. The legal department, court, and the executive director and Indian Child Welfare have been looking at amending the 4E agreement. This would allow us to bill for parent attorneys, the legal attorneys, and we're hoping to be able to bill for guardian ad litems and parent mentor to keep those positions with sustainable funding. The court recently applied to the BIA to have an evaluation completed of the court. We had one completed in 2008 and then one in 2014. And so it's always helpful to have the court evaluated to see where our needs are, where our strengths are. And typically funding will come down with that as well. The court operates 4 adult wellness court and 1 juvenile wellness court. We have a DWI court with Becker, one with Clearwater, and one with Minoan. The one with Minoan has been operational since 2014. It has 9 participants, 3 waiting for approval, that are approved waiting to start, and 2 waiting to be screened. For Becker County, it's been operational since 2015, and they currently have 8 participants with 3 waiting to be screened. The White Earth Minoan Drug Court has been operational since 2018. It has 2 participants with 1 graduating in April. We're looking at diversifying the drug court to include a multi-risk level. Right now, it's basically working with high risk, high needs, and they have to plea. We're looking at a diversion program as well. So looking at lesser levels. And currently the wellness court coordinator, Maria Lafreniere, is holding cognitive behavioral groups for people in our wellness court program. And the Clearwater County just became operational in 2021. And they're looking at screening participants now. And the juvenile wellness court has been operational since 2009, and it has 5 participants. In August 31st of 2021, the RBC and the Minnesota Department of Corrections signed a memorandum of understanding to create a tribal assistance correction agent program. And so the tribe is looking at hiring 2 agents that will work with Department of Corrections with tribal members that are intensive released supervised. And so we're hoping that we'll be able to decrease the number of people that will be going back in due to further crimes. And then last, we're looking at a SIMS training. It's a sequential intercept model training. There's 5 different intercepts in which people are processed for crimes, and these are places where community actions could occur where they could be diverted out of the system and get services for behavioral health. And so we're looking at a training where it would identify where our gaps are and where people could come into these intercepts. And that is it for me. Anybody has any questions?
I have a question, Lori. This is Annie. I know in the past we talked about ICW, how we can get advocate for them through the courts. Now, is that just sitting there? No, or what? Are we ever going to get one? And then another question that came up from some members is, where is our representation for them if they don't qualify for Anishinaabe legal services? As we know, our people can't afford lawyers as it is. So what can we do for them when they can't afford a lawyer and they don't qualify for the legal services?
So for the child protection cases, we contract with 5 different attorneys. One of them is Anishinaabe Legal Services, and then the other 4 are area attorneys out of their own law firms. And then Anishinaabe Legal Services also represents on housing matters, guardianships, and civil commitments for us. And I know that somebody had mentioned earlier, Joel Voorhees works for Legal Services now, and he has an office right in the court. And I can talk to Cody too about ensuring. I know he's there sometimes during the week, but I know one day out of the week he has to go to staffing in Cass Lake. But I can make sure to mention to him that, to see if he can be in the office more readily. Because I know they typically like to take their staffings through the Cass Lake court or the Cass Lake office. As far as, is that what you were talking about as far as the advocate piece, Annie?
No, the advocate is a person that can be there for, parents going through ICW, not knowing the steps. And, because a lot of people don't know their rights.
And I think
the children don't know their rights. But I know you were in on that meeting, and I asked to get that going. God, I don't know how many months ago that was, because our parents do need advocates, because if they want to fight for their children, it's hard when ICW is there changing the rules all the time. So that's something we need for our people, is an advocate for the families going through ICW. I don't mean legal representation. They usually get that, but it's, an advocate that can be there by their side and helping them. And, that's what, a lot of our members have asked for. And that's why I brought it forward many months ago, but I haven't heard any more on it.
So we have a job description, and that was what the parent advocate was. It was that parent for parent, looking at people that had lived experiences to help parents navigate through child protection and be a support for them. I think the piece that we're waiting for is just, we were talking, I think Clinton was hoping that he could fund the pieces initially. We were looking at hiring 4. And then with amending the 4E agreement, we're hoping that we would be able to bill for services to be able to sustain the position. And I think it was just to get a go-ahead that we would be able to use those funds to support those positions.
Okay, well, it's been many months now, so I don't know how long that takes to look for the funds. But, you know, we also have Health and Human Services funds. And I don't know the guidelines or policies of using them, but to me, you know, the family's health is affected when your children are taken out of the home. You know, that affects you very bad. I mean, you get anxiety, you get depression, you become suicidal sometimes. And, you know, we have to look at what Health and Human Services can, you know, do too, because, you know, to me, Health and Human Services would be a whole big part of ICW if, you know, that's why I say our program should be working together more. You know, the communication should be there so that we can better serve our members. Miigwech.
I have, with elders also, we have many different types of needs for legal services. And oftentimes, I know Anishinaabe Legal Services has the Older Americans Act, which, you know, sometimes they'll help with very selective things. So, like collection agencies, things like that, you know, people can't get any help with that. We haven't talked about Indian Health Service, but many people right now are going through collection, their taxes being taken. And there have been promises, and you know, they got their referrals or whatever was needed through Indian Health Service, and they don't pay the damn bills. And it goes to the collection agencies, and then our credits are ruined. So, you know, where's the legal help with that?
You mentioned that person. Who is he? Joe who? Did you say a Joe that comes here? Is he through Anishinaabe Legal Services too?
Correct, yep. Joel Voorhees is the White Earth representative for Anishinaabe Legal Services. And oh, go ahead.
And that's great, but because, you know, like I said, a lot of people don't qualify for that. Then they have no representation at all. And how do we accommodate to our members like that then, you know, that don't qualify? Is there, I don't know what else they can do.
Accurate measurements, and it gives you actually a 3D image, or probably even better than that. And I don't know how often they're doing that or what the exact plan is, but it's pretty cool.
Did you do that?
Yeah, unfortunately, yes, fat content. They continue to do We Care trainings.
I'm gonna go in there.
How much fat do you got on your body?
The HOA event was rescheduled for this Friday, the 11th, and she did report that they're working on some medicine teaching for the employees, and I think that was planning on coming the 18th and 19th. Brianna Chilton, the maternal child health coordinator, she did report that there's an increase in referrals coming through. They have completed 76 visits, 18 parents as teacher visits, 5 domestic violence and individual services, and 26 anger management sessions. Ambulance, looks like they've been doing some trainings. They did with Shooting Star Casino. They are working on increasing trainings for harm reduction in IHS clinic providers and nursing staff on emergency medical responder training, CPR, and first aid. They reported having 65 calls for the month of February. Oh, one other really good thing, actually, sorry. They reported getting an upgraded cardiac monitors in their ambulance so that they can have real-time reports going to the ERs that they are transporting their clients to. So that's actually a really good system. So, and I'm currently the interim home health nurse manager. And currently so there's a couple changes that are going to be happening with the COVID testing. Starting on Monday, we're going to decrease and do testing only from 8 to noon. We're averaging only about 10 tests a day. Vaccination will be provided by appointment only, and I can give you guys that number. I don't want to give you Clinton's number. It's 983-4684. And the testing, obviously we say 8 to noon, but we'll accommodate the best we can. But for staffing purposes, we think that it's time to start cutting down on that. We're currently and still working with IHS. We do have protocols in place for COVID treatment. So if there was something that would come through from them, we'd be able to provide that treatment. About 2,700 interaction services were provided, and some of them numbers are duplicated from the numbers I previously gave you. And we have no current or updated events coming from home health specifically. Any questions for me or anything I can take back?
Take back with, again, Indian Health Service, please tell them to correct their communication system, because when we call in again, it's like we were talking about, it's so jumbled that you can't get through, or you call somebody and they'll say we're gonna put you through to another line or that person, and then it's lost. So, even people calling in early, they have to call at 7:30, they call in and they say they're already filled. Well, what the hell? And a lot of the care isn't there until they're in such bad shape that they end up in the hospitals. Well, nobody wants to go to the hospital anymore because they don't pay the bills. So, there's got to be something changed. It's just, we encourage as much as we can to do well care, but if we're afraid to go into our own clinic, that's not okay. People are being hurt out there.
Thank you. Just a quick, I know that harm reduction services are being done out there. I don't have an actual update on that. I know Dr. Ong visits our foot doctor. Services are also being taken place. That were just a couple things that came to mind quickly while I was sitting here. So.
And then, would you please relay this? Our elders are always, when you close down your services, elders are not provided meals. Sometimes it's like from a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's happened so many times this year. Well, also, after the center opens, a nutrition center in all over, then they train the staff and close down. So they're off again without a meal.
The last time they had a staff training, we didn't get any meal, none.
So it was, it's just, again, these are some of the things they don't coordinate with us.
And they give us some food that a lot of our people can't eat because they don't have any teeth, or they don't have enough teeth, or they don't have strong enough teeth.
They stick an apple in a
raw carrots and all that.
Thank you.
But if you can relay that stuff on.
I sure can.
Thank you.
May I ask where Pat is?
She's on PTO.
Okay. But Tito, to go back to IHS, I have been asking for that meeting and haven't heard a thing. There's a lot of stuff going on down there, and I know you're not on Facebook, but I put a post out about my mother. She tried to get in for 2 weeks. She wasn't feeling right. She ended up having a heart attack. Now, is that how they treat our elders? You know?
Yes.
Then they want to do a phone call. I mean, how the hell are they going to diagnose a heart attack with a phone call? So I'm really kind of upset with IHS right now. They're not doing patient care at all.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to. And
Yeah.
I don't want to meet with Maria. I don't want to meet with Dan Fry because, you know, they just cover shit up that happens here. I want to go right to the top and meet with them. Believe an investigation has to be done down there. So miigwech for bringing that up.
Yeah, maybe if they don't, that's something we can do is contact further up. We have NICOA too, which is the National Indian Council of Aging. We can maybe
the Monoman Family Shelter, that was established in February 21, so it's been a year as an emergency response to help address homelessness. The family shelter serves families experiencing homelessness, connecting them to permanent housing and providing long-term housing stabilization services to support individuals in maintaining their housing. We are still in the process of getting the housing stabilization services set up. In the first year, we served 13 families. I think 3 of the families that were there have been housed. We are hoping to add on to the current shelter to assist more families and single adults. We are waiting on approval from a grant from HUD to see if we can add on to that. With our financial service department, White Earth Nation clients now have access to use Minnesota Benefits online tool to apply for all financial service programs, supplemental nutrient assistance programs, energy assistance, or emergency assistance, housing support, child care assistance, diversionary work program, general assistance, Minnesota Family Investment Program, and Minnesota Supplemental Aid. Amy is currently on part of a work group with Minnesota Benefits. As a result, partnership with DHS, Minnesota IT Services, Counties and Tribal Nations, and Development Partner, Code for America. What else did I forget? Also with housing, homeless. Let me think here. So we have our COVID emergency rental assistance grant we were awarded. It was $4.2 million. We have that's to be spent out by September of 22. We've spent maybe a little over $2 million with rental assistance all throughout Minnesota with they have to be renters and utility assistance, and they can help with propane. We met yesterday with Chairman Fairbanks to discuss how to get the remaining funds spent out. So we're in the works for that. Our elder program, the $1 million that they were asking about, a check was given to White Earth Housing for $700,000, and Human Services is doing the $300,000 for small repairs. And what else? I can't think of it. Like stoves, refrigerators, and that kind of stuff. And right now, them go through the elder advocates, and then Felicia, I think, gets them, and she puts them in the system so we can document when we got the app and when people are getting served. So that's up and running. And Felicia Bellinger is the new supervisor for the elder program. And I will see if she can come to your next elders meeting so she can be introduced to you guys.
Okay.
Any questions for me?
Yeah, I have one here. Energy assistance with such a bad winter, is there extra money? Because many of them have run out of their assistance.
Propane jumped real high too.
I know.
I know you get the one-time crisis spending, that's up to $1,200 extra after you run out of your grant. And then also too with the SARA funds, if you are a renter then we can try to fill your tank that way if you qualify for the program. But for that program, you have to be a renter.
And that goes through who?
The homeless program.
The what?
Homeless program?
218-936-3212.
Yeah, 218-936-3212. Oh, you want it?
What was you, everybody? As Tracy Lockgood saying, facilities sits in on just about every one of these remodel, pre-builds, all these meetings. I think there's like 10 or 12 we've been sitting in on. Natural Resources secured a grant for recycling, and we're all trying to get on board with that. So Jessica told us that it's got grant money for totes, bins, and others. We need to sit down with Rayanne yet and work on how we can bend this stuff up and how we can transport it and bale it. They have a baler over there I'd like to use. I'm not sure if we can get a hold of it or not, because they're not baling anything right now. We currently have 25 full-time staff. We have 25 enrolled members. We're doing duties at 5 full-time facilities. We do custodial duties at 12 facilities. We do the mail coming and going from the RBC. We order supplies for just about every department in these 5 to 7 buildings. Special projects, we got our COVID team, which regularly runs a route of 16 sites in the community, from community centers to fitness centers. And we do emergency on-calls for COVID spraying and sanitizing. Snow removal, we're running 10 plow trucks right now. We do 31 sites, and we've got called out 19 times so far this winter. The guys have wore out their shovels, we had to throw them away. We went through 4 tons of salt, which equals 8,000 pounds of salt, which is a lot per year for us. Ongoing stuff, we just got our heating and systems in our buildings, our keying, our locking, our ordering, painting of offices. Moved, I don't know how many desks, too many to even count. Emergency calls, we've been called out on 3 water issues, 2 frozen pipes and a low water pressure. One was here in Monoman. We had to fix where our wobbin head started to shingle on it once again. We had a couple drains that we fixed. We've helped clean out the chip factory. We've moved some tribal health desks and painted offices over there again, and they're remodeling again. We had 2 fire calls, one at the old Senex building in Monoman, and one at the Economic Development building, where it actually burned through the floor. We had to shut the wing down. Other than that, we've just been doing our normal duties like changing filters at all our sites. We probably processed over 200 work orders. Thank you.
Miigwech, Bernie? Tito, you have a question? Yeah?
I just want to ask and give a comment. Some of our elders that have driveways that are straight up, I know there's been, like, our nurses can't get up into, and other therapy, whatever, people that come pick up the persons for their appointments, they can't get up in those yards when it's so icy. And all we did was ask, can they kind of prioritize in some way if we have somebody call and for them, and who do we call to get that?
Well, I mean, if you call me, I'll try to make arrangements. Sometimes it's a bigger job than I can handle, and I can talk to Mike Bowman. I mean, if it's a real steep driveway, somebody's gotta bring salt or gravel, and I don't have that accessibility.
One of the solutions that we kind of discussed yesterday was, you know, and also we'll go back to the roof and the priorities of the roof, but we were collaboratively working on snow removals from the roofs, and I know that Representative Jackson brought forward consideration of having our youth be involved with helping clear the sidewalks and things like that, and then offer like an honorarium or incentive. It gives back to the elders, and then it also gives the kids an opportunity to earn some money and build relationship between our youth and our elders. And since Tito and the folks over there from our Elders Council brought forward the concern regarding the icy driveways, we did talk about, you know, when they're plowed, maybe something they could do is either put down some sand too or salt, or maybe when the youth are shoveling and clearing the porches and the sidewalks, that they can also put down the sand and the salt as a potential solution to helping address that concern.
But like Tito, on our end, a lot of times I don't hear about it. So, I mean, if you feel free to call down to maintenance, and I'll make a phone call to get somebody in touch with you.
And we have called, you know, for it down to like maintenance and that,
Yeah.
and we get that, well, we get a phone message or something, well, that's not gonna help, because I know, even my brother, I don't like to bring my own family up, but my brother sat in his driveway for 2 hours, and he's in a wheelchair, can't, you know, walk.
Yeah, see, I never even heard about that one. I mean, I have been out by Net Lake and plowed a few driveways this winter.
I wanna know who is responsible for the parking lot in front of the congregate, because that is pure ice and it's about this thick, the whole front parking lot.
That's a split deal. Rich Zimma has a parking lot.
Pardon?
Rich Zimma plows the parking lot.
Oh, okay.
I have the semi parking to the dock.
Because one time it was so bad, Sam Kroll called somebody, and he called somebody from the tribe, I think, and they came in, they put gravel on the thing, and it helped, and it needs it again.
One thing that they can do is, it's been happening, is that I usually get a call too. If they can't get a hold of Bernie and his maintenance staff, they'll call me, or they'll call dispatch, and then we can get to I can get to Bernie if they can't get to him, because he's out and about and stuff like that. And I want to give Bernie's crew a good pat on the back, because of the times where I've been out and I've seen an elder's driveway where they had a broke down car in the driveway, and housing wouldn't plow them. They were in housing, they wouldn't plow them, and so what I did is I called Bernie and I said, Bernie, can you help us out here? We have an elder that has her daughter's car is broke down in the driveway. We need to get it out there, get the driveway plowed. And that happened in one day. That was quick. That's how quick it happened in White Earth, because Bernie's maintenance crew came in, they pulled the car down, they plowed the driveway, they got it all taken care of in one afternoon. So it's just being able to get a hold of them, and Bernie, that's not even his responsibility, but he still goes out and does it though, and I really appreciate that, because this isn't the first time I had Bernie
technically
do that.
We're supposed to ask the tribal council for permission to go do that.
We run into problems because between the tribe and D.W. Jones, they're blaming each other for responsibilities.
No, and it shouldn't be that way. I mean, if we have Rich Zimma that's plowing it, and then whoever's involved in, I mean, do you guys have a maintenance man there? Is there a maintenance?
There was.
He doesn't even want to put salt on the walkway.
On his food? He doesn't want to put salt on his food?
He doesn't want to put salt. He doesn't want the other guy to put salt on there, because he said he tracks in and ruins the carpeting or stains it up.
Salty Peterson.
Salty.
Anita, you have a question as well?
Here, I had gotten a call from an elder, I think it was like, I don't know, 2 weeks ago or so, maybe less. And her son, who was also an elder, was going to a doctor's appointment, but his ride couldn't go on that drive because it needs to be plowed. Now, she had called and asked for it to be plowed so that to come in and get her son, because I would close to more than a quarter of a mile off the main road. So they couldn't come in, they had to wait on the highway for her son to walk, and like I said, he's an elder also. But she tried calling to get it done, and she just got to run around and saying there wasn't someone available and that, whatever. She ended up hiring someone to come and do it. Now, she's on a limited income, but that needed to be done, but before the guy that she was able to contact to privately hire, her son had to walk out to the highway to get into the other vehicle, his ride, because his ride was afraid of going in there and getting stuck. So can we like prioritize plowing for like the eldest, the medical needs, instead of it just being on the convenience of who's plowing, that they just want to go to point A, B, C, and D, that maybe they can go to D first, just rearrange their route for those that need the most.
Good question for water.
Because this woman also has a health condition where if something happens, she was told to call an ambulance immediately, and the ambulance one time couldn't even get in through to her. And I had suggested that they do ride-along for shoveling, because what point is it being plowed where you park your car but you can't get up your steps?
And I don't take care of any personal driveways whatsoever. That's done through our water and sewer program.
Well, that's where she was calling.
Yeah.
I think Mike Bowman should answer them questions, you know, because I'm not sure who's all on anything. But too, I brought up that, you know, the plowers should get a raise because, you know, all the snow we had this year, private plowers, they charge anywhere from $100 to $150 a driveway, you know, no matter how big the driveway is. So, you know, that's something I have asked for. But on a bright note, you know, Bernie's department does an awesome job. I mean, I can reach out to Bern or my assistant or any of the assistants and they're on it. You know, if they can do it, they're on it. So that's a thing that, you know, I think we got to talk to Mike Bowman about to see, you know, who the plowers are and how we can assist them to get the gravel or whatever the elders need.
Yeah, I mean, if I hear about an emergency, I'll have somebody go do it on an emergency basis, you know. But it's normally we don't take care of personal driveways.
But a lot of times too, the elders are kind of waiting.
Yeah.
You know, and they get a little antsy, but a lot of times because these are private contractors.
Yeah, and you gotta realize.
They also have their paying people they gotta get to, plus they're, you know, trying to take care of the drive. They've got a lot of.
When you get an elder, you get 3 inches of snow on a driveway, they can't get in and out, you know. And like even my mom and dad are elders. Sometimes it's 2-3 days before the plow comes in their driveway.
I mean, it would be nice to have more, you know, where water and sewer could hire more of these guys to plow, but there's just a few of them out there.
Yeah.
And how many of them got that $30,000 business grant? Why aren't they out there helping?
Yeah.
Why aren't they contracting with them?
I also want to say thank you to the snow plowers because they have had to come out many times. We do appreciate. We just want to let you know that there's some incidentals with some folks that really need help.
And that's something that, you know, I know that HR and Michael Bowman's division has been trying to get enough plowers to plow for us, you know, and I know that, you know, part, like we said earlier, like Annie said, things ain't cheap anymore, you know. You think about petroleum, you think about parts for your plow, because how many plows break down? I mean, it's expensive, because some plowers, when they break their truck, they don't want to do it again. It's too expensive.
But I mean, what we're talking about too is maybe just a little gravel on those roads that are so bad.
And also when you have one plower that has 40, 50 driveways, that's where it takes time to get to where they need to go. And if you had more people plowing, that would split that up more and stuff like that. I think that's what she's kind of talking about back here too, is that you got somebody that feels that, well, I need 40 driveways to make any money, you know, as a plower. And at 40 driveways, and if 40 driveways not right next to each other, they're miles apart like that, so, and it takes longer for them to get there, and that's what we have, the system we have now, but if we had more people plowing, more private plowers, I mean, you'd be able to split that up better, but that, you would say that's taking money away from one plower, but then you're talking about a service here. And you know, somebody, I know that one time, Bernie, remember a couple of years ago, there's a lady that needed to get out because she had an appointment. And the elder plower people couldn't get there right away because then she was gonna miss her appointment if they didn't get there right away. But she must have been on one of the lists where the guy had 40 or 30 of them and he wasn't gonna get there till the afternoon. So we had, well, Bernie, you went out and plowed them out, and they got out and they got to their appointment. So I mean, that there's going to be hiccups either way you look at it, but I mean, I just think we look at it a little better, I think.
And I would just like to say, Mr. Bowman is here, and there is a lot of collaborative efforts. I think both maintenance and the roads department does an excellent job. When I reach out and text or call these guys, they respond immediately. They keep us informed, and they do a lot of work. And like you said, this year was an especially heavy snow this year, a lot of snow, and you know, having 650 elders' homes to plow and help take care of some of these things, it is a massive amount of work to be done. Not to mention the 4:30 a.m. everybody's out with the roads department and maintenance department. They're out early, making sure everything is safe for us to come to work. In addition to those working longer hours because of the snow and the continued snowfall, and even when it's things that are out of their jurisdiction or out of their area. For example, 113 drifted completely across. Mr. Bowman went above and beyond and connected to Mahnomen County or the DOT to find out who was responsible to ensure that pathway was safe for ambulance and law enforcement to travel on. So I just wanted to mention those things too, for those that, just for y'all to be informed. So miigwech for your report, Bernie.
Thank you.
Okay, Lori, I just want to add to that because, you know, I think, you know, this coming summer, we should be looking at the winter. Yep. Let's get our guys in place. Let's get that shoveling, you know, in place. Let's get the plastic in place. Let's get them the clear plastic. I mean, we shouldn't wait till the you know, first flake flies. We should be on top of that because we know winter comes every year. So I'd like to see something in action, you know, in May, June, where we're starting to hire these people and, you know, put a start date on there for them because, you know, that way we know who we got, what we got, and how we can move forward. Miigwech.
Miigwech, Annie. Jackie?
You know, I think that's a great idea. And one thing you should add to it is, especially in the rural area, a lot of our elders have their tanks further away from their homes. And I'll be honest with you, the fuel people won't deliver if they can't get to that tank. So, you know, that's a compromise for that elder if they can't get their fuel well. You know, if that can be incorporated into that next year as part of their plowing, you know, so at least they can keep it clear enough where, you know, it's not built up and then all of a sudden you gotta get somebody special in there to clear a path to this elder's tank.
Miigwech, Jackie, I think that's really important information. We'll also relay that over to housing, White Earth Housing.
To their sewer line too.
Yep. Well, I was just gonna say, Bernie, Mr. Bowman, and Christina are here. You know, Christina with the fuel assistance, if we need folks to be able to have that clear path to make sure that we write that into policy or practice. I shouldn't say practice, but procedures and policy. And same for Bernie, Mr. Bowman. So we can make sure that these things are not issues next winter. And just like Representative Jackson had asked and requested that we have all of this complete in writing with clear process and procedure in May and June. And also Mindy, for the hiring practice, the hiring part of it, to ensure that we have folks identified and hired at that time to start training them and gearing them up so we can get things done in a timely manner. Miigwech. Jackie?
You know, one more thing you could add to that is through the constituents program or through whatever, if they could tap into when
fuel oil is cheaper during the summer months and at least build up so that when they have an elder who calls and they say, they need some fuel. I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know what it is right now, if it's $200 yet, but $200 right now is not going very far, especially if they have the outside fuel or, it's not going very far and it's not gonna last them that long. And a lot of them already went through, like Tito said, they already went through their fuel assistance, they've already went through their crisis.
Christina, are we able to up that fuel assistance amounts?
I think that's a grant. I'd have to talk to Chris on how that all gets figured out.
Okay.
Yeah, that's through the state.
It's through the,
I'm talking through constituents, where constituents will help pay towards the fuel oil bill.
Well,
you know, maybe if they started purchasing, you know, buying ahead of time in the summer at a cheaper price, then we've got that built up at that cheaper price. I know we had, Tito and I had went to a meeting a couple of years ago and they had brought that up, remember?
Yeah.
Buying ahead so that when this elder
Or those
anybody calls,
the contracts that the tribe makes with the companies, you know, they know they're gonna have them.
yeah,
Get them at a cheaper rate.
yeah, it was, you know, 99 cents. At that time, they were talking propane was 99 cents a gallon. What is it now? Be something? You know, $200 is not gonna go that far, but it does in the summer when it's cheaper.
Yeah.
Well, the minimum fill for us is on Feebig is 200 gallons, and that's $400 and some dollars. So I paid over $2,000 this winter on heat, and that's ridiculous. But you know, I got to do it so my kids don't freeze. But I do have electric backup, but then my electric bill goes way up to $600 a month if I use that. Especially this year, it's been bad. But what I'd like to see is, you know, if we can get that PUC in place, let's get our own oil company, our own fuel company, our own gas company, you know. Let's serve our own members. Other tribes do it. Why can't we?
I was just gonna say for constituents, right now in our policy, we help elders up to $200. I think it's one time a year. So it's that can either go for electricity or propane. So it's kind of hard to judge what we would even spend on propane, and then you have all the different fuel companies to buy from.
Yeah, so I mean, if you did like a cooperative thing and wanted to buy in, just say you wanted, you know, 500,000 gallons for the reservation, but you get it from Feebig, Cenex, Anglo. You see what I'm saying? There's just too many different companies out there operating. Unless you commit to them, and then all your tanks have to be switched to that vendor you're vending with. It's a lot bigger than just pre-buying from, you know.
Two things I would respectfully recommend regarding the grant. I'm not sure what it all entails, but I would, if there's an area of the grant that has additional funds, then I would put in an amendment to that grant to see if you could move that money around to put more towards that fuel assistance. And then the other recommendation I would respectfully recommend is to contact who is providing the grant to see if they are going to increase the grant or provide another additional grant because of the fuel costs that are going up, because it's not going to be just our area or just our tribe, it's going to be nationally. So those are the two things I would recommend to help address the concerns that are happening right now for our people. And then Jackie Miigwech for that excellent idea to look at, and Tito for looking at those contracted agreements and purchasing ahead of time to help out in with the costs in the winter months. So Miigwech.
Lori, can I add to that?
Yep, Trace.
I'd just like to say, actually, finance actually does do some pre-buy already for our own departments.
Yep.
So I don't see why we couldn't do it for our constituents, as long as if it's not done out of a grant. If it's done out of a grant, we might run into timeline issues where it has to be used by a certain date or something. But if we're buying it with our own general fund, there's definitely ways to track it within our system and buy it at that lower price.
You know, like what?
My question to that, you know, we only help the elders on that. Now, what about the families that are suffering that are not elders? You know, a lot of them pay out of pocket too because of their jobs, and a lot of them ran out of their fuel assistance money. So how do we assist them then? You know, I know they can go through Christina's homeless, but what if they own their home or buying their home? Then, you know, where do they fall into this picture? Because it seems they are the forgotten, you know? We really don't have nothing in place for them to reach out for help. I don't know. I'm just.
You're right, Annie, and right now, the only reason why homeless is able to help is because of the SARA funds, so that'll end in September.
You know, we talked earlier, and I know Annie brought up the PUC, and, you know, as chairman, I've been trying to push the PUC. I know we had a contracted attorney redo our PUC, because I think this is the part that I think that we're lagging on, is because I think our very own Public Utility Commission will regulate all of this stuff that we're talking about. This is where we talk about prices, we talk about fees, we talk about anything from internet to cell phone to fuel oil to the gas line that runs in from out west into our reservation. This is where our own regulatory board will dictate those fees and those prices. And I think that's where we will be able to stand with those guys, because they're the ones that, remember, a year ago we were talking about how the power companies are price gouging our members that fall behind their light bill, and all of a sudden it becomes an issue with gobbling up, like what Christina talked about, the energy, where it costs $1,200, $1,600 to turn these lights back on in the power companies, because they'll charge you $300 just to come turn you back on again, which it's basically just a lever to push you back on, and they come out and they charge that kind of money. So, I mean, this is what, you know, on my office as chairman, of course, I advocate to the Department of Commerce on this, that make sure that these power companies will give us time for our membership to pay these bills. Because what happens is it ends up coming back to the tribal council, then we're looking for resources to help these members to help pay these light bills before we have to end up paying the $12,000 to $15,000, $17,000, $2,000 to turn their lights back on. But I think this is why it's so important that we brought up earlier, is our Public Utility Commission will have that legal arm there to negotiate prices with all these utilities, and it goes for everything across the board with everything that we do within our borders. So that's one thing I think it's very detrimental to our tribe that we move forward with this and we get our PUC up and going. So I think that's something that'll help us in the very long run. So. But there's some great questions out there, and I know it's kind of like we talk about this every year, and, you know, we talk about Eugene and economic development, we talk about our own propane company, you know, and these are things that takes time to develop and monies that we need to get, and we have to, you know, we have to get storage tanks. I know a lot of them, we sold a lot of our propane storage tanks already, and we maybe could have hung on to be our propane storage for the future, but we still have some around here, so. But this is stuff that's very interesting, and I know that we as a tribal council, we're you know, of course we love listening to our members, you know, and for us as being the problem solvers, and, you know, our legal department being here is like, this is what we're tasked with, and we're trying to find solutions all the time for this. So, but I think that we do have kind of a good aspect on how to handle with some of these things in the future, problems that we're dealing with some of these power companies and fuel companies that are doing to us. So, but miigwech.
Thanks, Brian. Yep.
Good afternoon, everybody. Public Works. First, I'd like to thank RBC for processing our ARPA grant application. With that said, do some roads this summer. We have some project manuals into legal for review and hopefully subsequently RBC approval. So we'll be doing Strawberry Lake Road, we'll be doing paving. We'll be doing the village streets up in White Earth, curb and gutter. We'll be doing repaving BAB, Blair, and Ladue roads. We accepted 4 proposals for pilot studies for White Earth and Nadawash pump houses. We'll be rating and ranking those applications next week with IHS to choose a consultant. We're also putting together a design build RFP for Pine Point and Chippewa Ranch pump houses. And we're working with IHS doing a lagoon upgrade in Pine Point. Transit last week took possession of three new propane 20 passenger buses. We'll also be doing cleaning and painting water towers. One in White Earth, one in Pine Point, and one in Rice Lake. We're working with Sandy St. Clair's program in Alexandria Tech School for developing a CDL course here in White Earth. Right now we're negotiating how much of it can be done via through the computer. Sandy has the classrooms available. We're trying to determine how much roads will be involved with it, because the students will be required to have so many hours behind a wheel, where instead of sending students down to Alexandria, that we hope that we can give them time and credit for helping us with our projects and getting them behind the wheel in order for them to get their CDLs. And as for that elder snow plowing, there's going to be some cases where, we don't get exactly right, but during a 10-day period, we plowed 2,600 driveways, and to get them all exactly right is hard to do. But we're trying. As far as what Tito brought up earlier, we can provide some salt and sand for some of those difficult areas, but this is the first I heard of that. And typically when there's, special needs, those requests go, down to water and sewer to Betsy, and if they can take care of them, they take care of them right away. And if it takes heavier equipment or something roads has, that's when we're asked to get involved and help them out. But we're trying.
Thank you. I have one question. Mike, did you ever get that contract for upgrading the water systems in White Earth?
Yeah, I was going to just ask for a point of clarification, because the ARPA funds that were approved was specific to the water and sewer projects. So if you could do an update on the water and sewer projects.
I did.
Oh, well, you just did it. Sorry. What's that?
I didn't hear it.
We did, we got proposals late last week from 4 consulting firms to do pilot studies for White Earth and Nadawash pump houses.
What about Pine Point?
We're putting together a draft RFP for a design build for Pine Point and Ranch.
Because those 3 areas are so bad. And, nobody drinks the water.
Well, we did get money for replacement, but, on these pilot studies, it's going to be probably between a 4 and a 6 month study. And what a consultant will do is he'll hook up, he'll bring in a trailer And he'll hook up to our water system and then process that water through a series of trial and error to determine the best media to treat our water with. And after that study, we'll do a design build, knowing exactly what we're going to do to improve that water for that community.
Do you have an estimated time of how long it would actually take to replace the water and sewer systems?
I'm hoping that, well, we can't put the pump house on the same place. We'll have to move it, otherwise we won't have a pump house. So we can build one. I mean, that's, the construction isn't the difficult part. It's studying the needs to treat the water. Otherwise, we're going to end up spending all this money and being in the same boat we are right now. And that's why these pilot studies take so long. So at the end of the day, White Earth will get what White Earth deserves.
So that
is getting White Earth.
So that water study, is that something that Monica's program assists with? Different water study? Is it an IHS water study?
No.
Okay. I think that's all the questions, right?
Get rid of it quick.
All right, Miigwech, Mr. Bowen. We'll go. Should we break right now? You guys ready for a break or no?
No, we can push through.
What do you got, one guy?
Push through, we got 3 left.
We got 1,
3 left.
3.
Yep, 3
We have 3 left.
I keep going.
Keep going.
Okay. Break.
Mine should be pretty short. I'm hoping.
IT rules.
Buju, I'm Monty Ballinger, IT Director. Give my update here. I'll start with some internal stuff in the IT department. We recently got a backup system that we ordered back in September. We got it at the end of January. The backup system comes with long-term data retention, which is good for our information to be backed up that long. And also, it's good for if we ever get a ransomware attack on us. We could go back and, recover those files that we had from before. I think it's part of an insurance thing for the tribe to have a backup system like that in place, so I'm glad we got it. Another thing we recently did was update the help desk system. I'm hoping that with the update that it will help us give better support on customer service to our end users through IT. It comes with a knowledge base, and I'm currently working with everybody in the IT department to build that knowledge base so that end users could go to it and search for the easy problems that they could fix on their own, so they don't have to put in a ticket with us. Another thing I'm implementing is a documentation standard for everyone in IT, because there's a lot of stuff in there there's a lot of information missing and it's only held within one person, so I want people to share that information more so we could have better customer service with everybody within the tribe, the RVC. So some external stuff that I'm working on. Well, I helped do a presentation last week with the directors and managers with the enterprise content system called Laserfish, which helps they convert paper forms into electronic forms that people could fill out. We could put these electronic forms such as like HR applications, homeless applications, there's other services that we could put those forms on the website that like tribal members could fill out. The reason why, I'm pushing for this is because I heard before that applications do get lost. If we go this route, we could see the status of where the forms are at, so they'll never get lost. And they're stored digitally, so you can't really get rid of it unless you have access to do so. And if you do get rid of it, we could, there's auditing on it. We could see who deleted it and all that. So I'm pushing for that. I think it's something that we should be doing, getting rid of all these paper forms. And since last week, since that meeting that we had and the presentation, only 2 people reached out about it. So, and I know there's more than 2 forms out there that we deal with that we could put out on our website for our members. I think we should probably start doing that. I need to know what we need, because we need to get additional licensing through them guys, so I could get the pricing on all that stuff. We are still working on that mobile application for the tribal members. Chairman Fairbanks gave me a number to call someone to try and have I looked at the current state of it, and I don't know, I'm not too impressed with it, but that's something that I could reach out to the guy that Chairman Fairbanks knows. Maybe he could rebuild us something that, tribal members could fill out something and he'll route it to the right services that they need. Still in the process of getting a new phone system in place. There's multiple options. I'm waiting on just another vendor for pricing. Then I could try and, put together a plan on getting it going. Also, I'm currently looking into getting wireless internet infrastructure at all community centers. I got tomorrow, the old community center in Adawash is getting internet hooked up there. And I got a plan in place for the White Earth Community Center. I wanted to let everybody know also about the Affordable Connectivity Program through the FCC. If you apply for that, if you receive any services through, whether it's the state, like Medicaid or SNAP benefits or something, or even services through the tribe, you can apply for that, and it'll get you internet for cheap. My dad signed up for it, and he never had internet before. He signed up for it, he got approved of it, and Arvid came hooked up the internet, and he only has to pay $1 a month for his internet. So I think that's pretty good, especially for our elders. Also, I'm looking into creating more jobs for IT, so be on the lookout in the future. And if you know anybody that's interested, especially, I want to get more youth into IT, have them apply for them jobs, because I'm willing to take people in and have them learn, build them up. I'm trying to do an internship, but I'm trying to figure out the best way to approach it money-wise. So, and that's basically all I got from IT. So, that's it.
Any questions for him?
Hello, I'm Christy. Do you have the
It's on.
mic? Is it on?
You have to put it right up to your face.
Okay. Christy, I'm with the compliance department, and just some of the statistics from our area. We have 33 employees in the division, and we're budgeted for 37, so we still are looking for 4 in our surveillance department. We have drug testing, tribal gaming, surveillance, and adjudications underneath our division. Our drug testing department, at this time, they added a new vendor which supplies us with COVID-19. We've been supplying the tribe with those, along with some other outside entities. Testing supplies, as well as patch kits that ICW has been using, which is a new type of drug testing for clients from ICW, where it's just a patch they wear, and we send it in after 7 days, and it gives us their the results. The patch kits have been productive, as we've seen on drug testing side for clients that utilize our offices. We've had 7 cases closed, which is really good. We've added new clients. These clients include CHS of Monoman, Waban, and Callaway. Had Ramsey County start utilizing our office for client testing. Also added White Earth Business Products, UA testing, and DOT testing. We held 5 drug testing trainings for UAs, 9 sweat patch trainings, 6 oral fluid trainings. We're working to add to our DOT consortium for white earth drug testing. Have added all the RBC DOT compliant positions to white earth drug testing consortiums. Continuing to establish working relationships with a variety of county and state social service programs to offer a variety of testing products and services. Working with vendors to keep supplies up to date and on hand for all white earth programs. Tribal gaming, our employees there, and we're hoping to restructure the department to better utilize the employees where they're needed. I have one who is vacating that position, position of offsite coordinator on March 31st. So we'll be advertising for that. The department continues to work on auditing the gaming areas of both the casinos and offsites, and audits are now completely paperless. Working with the casino on install, conversions, RAM clears, logic accesses, and quarterly audits at both Mahnomen and Bagley casinos. This past year we've been using new equipment to test software, which has been going very well. The offsites continue to do well, especially through COVID. We're out verifying all offsite employees that deal with gaming that get key license and follow regulations. We continue to review project planners, marketing, promotions, policies and procedures, and incident reports, and et cetera at the casinos. Working with NIGC and the Gaming Commission on charitable gaming and facility licensing. Currently, NIGC is inquiring on how we license our facilities and charitable bingos. We're hoping to streamline this process, but are meeting roadblocks with NIGC on the auditing and licensing requirements. We have a meeting on the 24th of March with NIGC and the Gaming Commission to address these issues. And I just got off the phone with Leif, our attorney, so we have set up on the 24th with our attorneys and NIGC and the Gaming Commission to go over our charitable gaming, which is now brought to the forefront once again. In surveillance, we have 19 employees we're short for. 3 of them are on graveyard shift. We have budgets, they're on track for that as well. They continue to work with all casino departments, White Earth PD, and surrounding law enforcement entities, providing information vital to the safety and securing White Earth assets. Surveillance will finalize their move to their new room starting on Monday, March 14th through the 16th, with the final step of moving the stations. The casino will not experience any downtime in this move as temp stations are set up in various areas to ensure continuous coverage. We've also set up a review room for when law enforcement come to review incidents for that. Under adjudications, I have 5 employees. Adjudication continues to work with all entities of White Earth Reservation to provide background information, suitability determinations, net studies and fingerprinting services, credit checks, and more. We've had many requests to do fingerprints for various outside White Earth licensing requirements. We'll start to charge for the fingerprinting services commencing on April 1st, 2022. As far as what I've been up to, working with and continue to support and provide guidance to the compliance managers, support for the election board. That's taken a lot of my time this last 6 to 8 weeks. New application structure for casino, which is still in progress, and the gaming commissioners supporting what their goals are and keeping them abreast of current issues. Any questions? Thank you.
We good? I only got one thing in like 1,600 parts. You guys ready? You ready, Tito? Go for it, huh? All right, just trying to break up the afternoon here. I'm going to start with the police department. Under public safety, the police department, I'm going to start with a little bit of what's all under the police department as far as our highway safety grant. Highway safety officers that are out there. We have 3 positions through NHTSA, through the National Highway Safety and the Indian Highway Safety Program, that are out making the streets safe for all of our members and stuff like that. They've been pretty busy lately and stuff like that with all the roads and stuff like that, and the weather stuff going on and all that. So, and then I'll move over to the animal control officer. CJ Jackson is our new animal control officer. He's been on the job for about 3 weeks now. He's just getting his feet wet. So I believe that
we would probably use one animal control officer in each village, but funding probably wouldn't allow that. So with the animal control officer position, we are going to be collaborating with Leech Lake Legacy and National Humane Society on various projects and grants and stuff like that. As you know, the National Humane Society and the Leech Lake Legacy collaborated with us on a donation through the Chewy Foundation for dog food, cat food, and dog and cat supplies and stuff like that. And our navigators have been busy distributing those to each one of the communities and all that. And we still have, and I think I put it on our Facebook page, that you can, if you need dog food or cat food or any kind of supplies, you can call dispatch or call your local navigator and they can bring it out to you, stuff like that. They can deliver it out to you. So we do have 4 officers in the city of Mahnomen under contract, and they've been kind of doing their thing in the city of Mahnomen. A lot of the calls for service come out of the city of Mahnomen. It's our most populated area, so in the city. So they're pretty busy, but we're still trying to get them involved in some of the community policing aspects of it. One of the things that we did with the city of Mahnomen, and we've actually, with the recent activities that happened over at Riverland Apartments, we have our officers going over to the Riverland Apartments and doing walkthroughs on an hourly basis, just to kind of curb some of the activity that's going on at the Riverland Apartments. We had I believe we had a overdose death, and we had a shots fired call over there all in one weekend. So what we did is we sent our officers over there. We talked a little bit about putting an officer right in that building, right in Riverland, but the cost effectiveness of that, I mean, it would be good if we could do it, but I don't think we have the funding to do it right now. They do have a security guard there, so that covers most of it, but we do have our officers going in there on an hourly basis. So we also, with the police department, we have a pre-arrest diversion thing that we're working with Mahnomen County on, Mahnomen County Attorney's Office, Mahnomen County Sheriff's Department, where we do some pre-arrest diversion stuff to where when people leave out warrants or they got misdemeanor charges or even gross misdemeanor charges, when they come in, if they are addicted to heroin or their alcohol or whatever they have going on with them, we were able to do a pre-arrest diversion with them and either get them into treatment or get them involved with behavioral health and substance abuse and get them to like detox or get them somewhere where they can get the help they need, the wraparound services they need. In some instances with Mahnomen County, they still don't get out of the charge, but it's good to have that there. So if they do go and take care of what they need to take care of as far as detox or treatment or whatever they need to do, the county attorney's office can take a look at it and say that we could probably stay of execution on it. So 2 minutes left. Okay, didn't even get past the police department yet. Anyways, that's also the CTAS grant through public safety. Also, we've been awarded another CTAS grant for the equipment and technology. So that's for our vehicles and all of our radios and stuff like that. So dispatch, we are down one position in dispatch. We have a tarot worker working there now. So we're going to be doing interviews to complete our dispatch and get that up and running, or get it full staff. DMV, I just wanted to touch a little bit on DMV. Our DMV is full staff with full-time hours. We're going to be open for lunchtime and all that now since we have full staff. Also, I did talk to Sherry Monica about those state parks access. Yeah, we're going to talk to her about maybe getting those through DMV to travel members through DMV.
I did contact David McBride with DNR, and I do have the contract. I sent it to Shanda for legal review. Once we get that done, then we can get the packet information and start handing this out.
Okay.
So I'll get everything to you.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Right, and then our CSO program, they're just kind of finishing up everything on the fishing derby that they had for the kids and stuff like that. There was over 650 participants at our fishing derby, our annual one out on Strawberry Lake. We have some CSOs, navigators they're doing peer support training this week. I think Clinton talked a little bit about that. Surveillance, I think they were working on some, I think we're gonna be working with our casino surveillance on the White Earth Community Center installation, so for the cameras. Let's see here, where am I at here? Security, we cover security in a number of different buildings and stuff like that, like Oshkosh Montague, Men's Acute Care, the Urban Office, the hotel down in Detroit Lakes, Moms and Mats in White Earth and Nate-Wash, Congregate Housing, and we have trouble. It's a challenge just getting our staff fully staffed for this stuff. I know we're still waiting on one position at Congregate Housing still that we still have to fill. I think the guy's gonna be going through orientation here next Tuesday, I believe, and then we'll get him hitting the ground running. So Congregate will be up to full staff with 24/7 coverage. So how much time, Lenny?
You're overtime.
Am I? Okay, way over, huh? Okay, little bit, just real quick with our CFSs for last year, our calls for services, we had about 13,400 calls our department took. This year, from January to present date, we're at about 2,000, so we're a little bit above our from last year and stuff like that. So, other than overdose recovery, been very busy with responding to some of the overdoses and some of the follow-up stuff. We did lose one of our overdose recovery officers in the south. He went out to he went to conservation. So we're going to be filling that position, but they've been working really hard on getting out there, working along with the chows, working along with the overdose recovery officers, chows, and who else is there, Kurt? Overdose recovery, chows. There's a group anyway. What's his name's program? Edie Smith's program. So we try to have a group right in each community that does all the wraparound services. And like everybody knows, our CSOs are very busy doing a lot of transports. They're also running down to the cities back and forth, working with a group down there where they're getting, furniture and clothing and all that, bringing them back and dispersing them in each community and stuff like that. So I think if there's nothing else, if anybody has any questions for me, I could try to answer them. Tito?
I don't have any.
You don't have any questions, Tito? All right, well, I guess. Anybody else have any questions for me?
Who's next?
Miguich. Hey, Glenn, you're up.
Miguich? I already did.
She already did it right.
Oh, okay. Oh, Miguich, here's the
Last
one.
I need the last one, yeah.
You wanna read it?
Good.
All right. Well, in the legal department, we've been working on a lot of different things, including helping the various divisions with the legal requirements for the federal funding we have right now for like COVID. Working on SSBCI stuff, that's a state small business credit initiative, which will help some of our small businesses. We're also working with Public Works on
That's a stream,
language for the RFPs that we're issuing, and then working with Human Services on SARA funding issues. We're also helping land with rights of ways and things like that. And that's just sort of like our ongoing work that we've always been doing in legal. But then right now, we also have the state legislative session going on right now. And so we're actively working on 2 bills before the legislature. The first bill is a tribal cannabis bill for the medical cannabis program. And then the second bill we're working through MIGA is a sports betting bill that would authorize sports betting in Minnesota, like here at the Shooting Star Casino. That's one component of it. And then the second component is to do like an online or mobile platform sports betting too. And so there's been a lot of meetings on those 2 things that we've been involved in and trying to help push and move forward. The cannabis legislation would allow our medical cannabis program to transport product down to St. Paul to a testing lab down there, so it's tested to make sure that it meets medical requirements, that it's medical grade, and then also allow participants of the program to have their product like off the reservation, like if they're going to visit family, like in the cities or Moorhead or something like that. And then they would have the same protection as the state's participants would have regarding civil and criminal protections for like possession. So we've been doing a lot of work on that. At the February meeting, the RBC appointed the Medical Cannabis Commission. And so just recently we had our first meeting with them. Legal sat down with them. We did about a 2-hour training with them on the cannabis code. And then we're also working with them on regulations and bylaws for the on-reservation program. So that will be moving forward. Yeah, then I mean we just help with a whole bunch of other stuff that's just going on and help the RBC as needed and administration as needed. But another thing that I do is I sit on the Children's Justice Initiative Advisory Committee with Justice Ann McCaig. And so we've been working with the state agency, Minnesota Department of Human Services, on some issues that they're having with regard to consulting with tribes on their Family First Prevention Act plan that they're supposed to submit to the federal government. And there's a lot of issues there where DHS is saying they've consulted or saying that the tribes aren't in agreement with it, but the tribes are in agreement with what the plan that we want to do. And so just trying to break through the barriers there at the state agency. So we're also trying to work with the Department of Natural Resources on getting the White Earth State Forest back to White Earth. But like anything that you try to do big with the state government, you always run into barriers. It always takes time. So the biggest key is consistency and determination and not giving up and keeping the state agency people accountable. And so those are some of the big things we're working on. And that's all I have. I'll be happy to answer any questions. None? Okay, good.
I have a question about the online gaming. Does that require us to open up our existing compacts with the state to pursue that?
No, we've been very, very careful to protect the current compacts. We have 2 compacts currently, one for slot machines and one for table games or blackjack. And the current legislation right now would be for a 3rd compact that would not touch the first 2 compacts, but a 3rd compact that would allow what's called brick and mortar sports betting. So it'd be like a kiosk here on the gaming floor where you could go and you could place your bet, on whatever sporting event you want. But the other aspect of sports betting for the mobile or online platform